Beyond hunger and thirst, the deep spiritual meaning of Ramadan explained. From dreading Ramadan to loving it, your journey of self-discovery. Once upon a time, a curious young girl named Sarah sat with her mother, bathed in the warm glow of the afternoon sun. Sarah, with eyes sparkling with a thirst for knowledge, turned to her mother and asked, "Mama, what exactly does fasting mean in Islam?" Her mother, a woman of wisdom and faith, smiled gently. "It's a wonderful question, Sarah. Most people know that fasting involves abstaining from food and drink from dawn to dusk, but that's just the tip of the iceberg." Intrigued, Sarah leaned in closer. "An iceberg? What does that have to do with anything?" Her mother chuckled. "Imagine, Sarah, that fasting is like a magnificent iceberg. What we see on the surface, the not eating and drinking, is just a small part of its true majesty. The real power lies beneath the surface." "So what's underneath?" Sarah's eyes widened with excitement. "The word fasting itself comes from a term that means restraint," her mother explained. "It's not just about physical limitations, but about training our minds and hearts to have self-control. It's like a powerful exercise for our inner selves." Sarah's brow furrowed in concentration. "Restraint? So it's like holding back from something we want." "Exactly," her mother beamed. "Fasting teaches us to control our desires, whether it's the urge to eat a delicious treat or the temptation to say something unkind. It's about strengthening our willpower and becoming better versions of ourselves." "Wow," Sarah breathed. "So fasting is more than just being hungry." "Absolutely," her mother agreed. "It's a journey of self-discovery, a chance to connect with our faith on a deeper level. We not only restrain ourselves from food and drink, but also from negative thoughts, gossip, or anything that might harm others." Sarah pondered this for a moment. "So, when we say restrain from speaking or walking, we don't mean we stay completely still and silent." Her mother laughed. "Of course not, my dear. It means we avoid using our words or actions in ways that could be hurtful or disrespectful. We become more mindful of everything we do." "And the intention, Mama, you said that's important too." "The most important part, Sarah." Her mother's voice filled with pride. "Without a sincere intention to fast for the sake of Allah, all the other actions become meaningless. It's the heart that truly matters." Sarah, her eyes shining with newfound understanding, smiled. "So fasting is like a special training program for our hearts and minds, right?" "Exactly." Her mother embraced her. "Fasting is a gift, Sarah, a chance to grow closer to Allah, develop self-control, and become a more compassionate and mindful person. It's a beautiful journey, one that will teach you valuable lessons that will stay with you forever." Sarah, still basking in the warmth of her newfound understanding, looked expectantly at her mother. "Fasting, as you know, holds special significance on several levels," her mother began. "Firstly, fasting symbolizes self-control and refraining from prohibited matters in order to draw closer to God." "Do you mean we just abstain from food and drink?" Sarah asked, wanting to fully grasp the concept. Her mother shook her head gently. "Not only that, my dear. Fasting also involves relinquishing reliance on other than God, not fearing anyone but Him, as well as contemplating spiritual matters and distancing oneself from the love of worldly pleasures. It's a full body and mind experience that strengthens our connection to the divine." Sarah's brow furrowed thoughtfully. "So it's like a complete reset button, both physically and spiritually." "In a way, yes," her mother agreed. "Fasting allows us to appreciate the simple things in life and refocus our priorities. It's a reminder that true happiness comes from within, from our faith and connection to Allah." "Does fasting affect everyone in the same way?" Sarah pondered. "No, dear," her mother explained. "Each individual is affected by fasting based on their level of culture, awareness, and faith. The stronger the faith and the deeper the culture, the greater the impact of fasting. It's a personal journey, but one that connects the entire Muslim community through shared experience. A curious glint appeared in Sarah's eyes. "What about the saying, 'Life in this world is like fasting for a day'?" she inquired. Her mother smiled. "This saying illustrates that the life of a believer in this world resembles fasting, where they refrain from prohibited pleasures. Just as the fasting person breaks their fast in this world with food and drink, the believer breaks their fast in paradise with happiness and divine reward. It's a reminder that the struggles and limitations we face in this life are temporary, and a glorious reward awaits those who persevere with faith." Sarah sat silently for a moment, letting her mother's words sink in. Fasting, she realized, wasn't just about hunger. It was a doorway to self-discovery, spiritual growth, and a deeper connection with Allah. It was a gift, a path to becoming a better person, and a reminder of the beautiful rewards that awaited her. The excitement for the upcoming Ramadan bloomed in her heart, and she couldn't wait to embark on this special journey alongside her family and community. Sarah, her eyes glowing with newfound purpose, listened intently as her mother continued. "Of course, and there is more to learn about fasting," her mother said. "Although fasting is clearly manifested in the month of Ramadan by abstaining from food and drink during the day, it may remain a secret between the servant and his Lord because there are no external signs indicating that a person is fasting." "So there's nothing that shows I'm fasting?" Sarah asked, surprised by this revelation. Her mother nodded. "Exactly, my dear. Fasting does not involve any noticeable movements or behaviors, unlike prayer, for example, which includes physical actions. It's a deeply personal experience between you and Allah." "Is fasting like other acts of worship then?" Sarah pondered, trying to categorize this unique concept. "Not necessarily," her mother explained. "Fasting is an individual act of worship that doesn't require another party. In zakat, there is the needy person who receives money. In enjoining good, there is the sinner who is advised against evil deeds. And in Hajj, there is the companion who guides on the journey. While fasting stands alone, focusing solely on your internal commitment and connection with Allah." A sense of awe washed over Sarah. Fasting wasn't just about physical restraint. It was a deeply personal dialogue with the divine, a secret act of devotion that resonated within the soul. It was a pillar of Islam unlike any other, a testament to one's inner strength and faith. The upcoming Ramadan felt even more special now, a chance to embark on this unique journey of self-discovery and spiritual connection. She squeezed her mother's hand, a silent promise to embrace this holy month with a newfound understanding and a heart brimming with faith. "Certainly, my dear," her mother continued, her voice gentle yet firm. "Fasting differs from other transactions in that it is an individual worship that doesn't involve any other party besides the fasting person and Allah. This makes it a private worship that can be concealed from people." Sarah's eyes widened. "Can I fast without anyone knowing?" she asked, surprised by this unique aspect. Her mother smiled warmly. "Absolutely, my dear. Fasting can be a secret between you and Allah. It doesn't require public declaration or showing off your piety. The focus is on your internal commitment and devotion." The weight of this revelation settled on Sarah. Fasting wasn't a performance, it was a deeply personal conversation with the divine. "Is there a difference between fasting and other transactions then?" she inquired, piecing together the concept. "Yes, dear," her mother explained patiently. "Transactions involve more than one party. Contracts, buying and leasing, all require two or more people. But fasting is an individual worship that doesn't require a second party. It's solely between you and your faith." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. What about obligations? She continued, her mind racing with questions. Obligations like manumission and divorce affect the other party, like the wife or the slave, without needing their consent, her mother clarified. Whereas fasting is a personal decision that only affects the fasting individual themselves. A sense of empowerment bloomed within Sarah. So, I can be a fasting girl without anyone knowing? She asked, a newfound determination in her voice. Certainly, my dear, her mother affirmed. You can fast and communicate with Allah secretly, and this will be among the greatest acts you can perform. It's a testament to your inner strength and faith, something beautiful that resides within you. Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt a surge of excitement for Ramadan. It wasn't just about abstaining from food and drink, it was a chance to cultivate a deeper connection with Allah through a private act of devotion. Her mother smiled, sensing the shift in Sarah's understanding. Certainly, my dear, she began again. Fasting is a worship special between the servant and his Lord, which is why it is mentioned in the sacred hadith. Fasting is for me and I will reward for it. Sarah leaned in, eager to learn more. So does it mean fasting is only between me and Allah? She clarified. Exactly, my dear, her mother confirmed. Fasting stands out because it can be a secret between the servant and Allah. It's about sincerity to Allah, away from worldly displays and appearances. Relief washed over Sarah. That makes me feel relieved, she confessed. I don't need to show people that I'm fasting, right? Exactly, her mother agreed. Fasting differs from other acts of worship that may be visible to people but may not necessarily be sincere to Allah, whereas fasting can remain concealed and thus be more sincere, focused purely on your connection with the divine. Are there any other advantages of fasting compared to other acts of worship? Sarah inquired, her curiosity piqued. Yes, my dear, her mother replied. Although it is possible to declare fasting or conceal prayer and other acts of worship, fasting still has the advantage of being the easiest to conceal. It doesn't contain external appearances that others can see, making it a truly private and personal expression of your faith. Of course, my dear, her mother continued, her voice brimming with knowledge. The sacred hadith mentions that it is Allah who rewards for fasting, and this statement can be understood in two different ways in Arabic. Intrigued, Sarah leaned forward, eager to absorb this new layer of understanding. The first method, she prompted. Her mother smiled. The first method emphasizes that Allah, glorified and exalted, be He, gives the reward for fasting just as He gives the reward for other acts of worship. In this understanding, fasting doesn't differ from other acts of worship in terms of the reward itself. So does it mean that Allah rewards us for fasting just like He rewards us for praying? Sarah clarified. Precisely, my dear, her mother confirmed. In this way, the reward for fasting holds the same weight as other good deeds. But there's another way to understand this hadith, right? Sarah pressed, her curiosity piqued. Indeed, her mother agreed. The second method highlights a unique aspect of fasting. It suggests that Allah, glorified and exalted be He, gives the reward for fasting directly without any intermediary. Unlike other acts of worship where angels or saints might share in the reward, with fasting, the reward comes directly from Allah, the Most High. A sense of awe settled upon Sarah. Fasting wasn't just about abstaining from food and drink, it was a direct line to Allah's reward. This distinguishes fasting from other acts of worship, right? She asked. Exactly, my dear, her mother affirmed, as the reward for it comes directly from Allah without any intermediary. Taking a moment to process this information, Sarah looked up at her mother with a new question. Certainly, my dear, her mother began, anticipating her inquiry. The giving from Allah is more generous than the giving from creatures. So does it mean that Allah gives us more than people give us? Sarah asked, trying to grasp the concept. Exactly, my dear, her mother replied. Allah is the generous and the noble, who grants us more generously and graciously than any human can give. There's no comparison. What about the reward for fasting? Sarah continued, her mind buzzing with newfound knowledge. Fasting, being a hidden act of worship offered to Allah by the servant, her mother explained, is rewarded by Allah in a hidden way as well. This increases the value of the worship and strengthens faith, as the focus is purely on your devotion to Allah. Does that mean there's a special spiritual pleasure associated with fasting? Sarah wondered. Absolutely, my dear. Her mother's eyes twinkled. Fasting holds a special spiritual pleasure that only those who experience it can truly understand. It's a unique connection with Allah that transcends the physical world. A wave of excitement washed over Sarah. Fasting wasn't just about limitations. It was a doorway to a hidden realm of spiritual rewards and pleasures. It seems that fasting has great value, she stated, her voice filled with conviction. Exactly, my dear, her mother agreed. If we consider fasting as a reward from the servant to his Lord, this expresses the importance and great value of fasting as a recognition of Allah's blessings. Can we say that fasting is an expression of gratitude to Allah for his blessings? Sarah asked, piecing together the puzzle. Precisely, my dear, her mother confirmed. Allah is self-sufficient and does not need any reward from anyone. However, fasting represents a symbolic meaning of drawing closer and expressing gratitude to Allah for his infinite blessings. In thoughtful silence, Sarah absorbed her mother's wisdom. Fasting transcended mere hunger. It was a tapestry woven with self-discipline, a direct line to Allah, and the promise of a hidden reward. Unlike any other Islamic pillar, it offered a unique path for self-discovery and spiritual awakening. With the coming Ramadan, she eagerly awaited this extraordinary journey. Yes, my dear, her mother added gently, a touch of wisdom in her eyes. Emphasizing and giving great importance to fasting as a worship cannot be equated with limited worship to match the boundless bounties of Allah. Sarah pondered this for a moment. So Allah is pleased with a little action if the intention is pure, she clarified. Exactly, my dear, her mother confirmed. Allah is the most merciful. Even a small act of worship like sincere fasting can bring great favor if your intention is pure and your devotion genuine. What about silent fasting, Mama? Sarah's curiosity remained piqued. The one no one knows about? Ah, her mother smiled. Silent fasting, known only to Allah, is considered a special reward in itself. It's a testament to your faith and a way to express gratitude for the blessings of Allah, even the unseen ones. So even silent fasting can be a reward for Allah's boundless blessings. Sarah's eyes sparkled with understanding. Certainly, my dear, her mother agreed. Allah's generosity and mercy are infinite. By offering him your silent devotion, you acknowledge his blessings and receive his favor in return. A sense of peace settled over Sarah. Fasting wasn't just about personal gain, it was a beautiful exchange of gratitude and reward. So, sincere worship to Allah is unlimited in essence, right? She asked, summarizing her newfound knowledge. Yes, my dear, her mother confirmed. Sincere worship, like fasting with a pure heart, is limitless in its value to Allah. Unlike worship tainted with pride or showmanship, which is considered limited or feeble. And even if our actions can't truly match Allah's blessings, Sarah continued, a thoughtful expression on her face, there's always forgiveness and mercy from him. Absolutely, my dear, her mother beamed. There is always forgiveness and mercy from Allah towards his servants. The bounties he bestows upon us are countless, and he is ever forgiving and ever merciful, even when our attempts to express gratitude fall short. A quiet peace settled over Sarah. Ramadan wasn't simply about an empty stomach, it was a doorway to a deeper connection with Allah. Here, she could express her thankfulness for His gifts and receive even more blessings in return. The holy month loomed on the horizon, and with it, a burning desire to experience the transformative power of silent fasting and heartfelt devotion. Her mother, sensing Sarah's newfound understanding, continued, "There is a third level of benefits of fasting related to reminding oneself of the hunger and thirst on the Day of Judgment." Sarah's brow furrowed slightly. "So, the one fasting feels hunger and thirst to remember the Day of Judgment," she clarified. "Exactly, my dear," her mother explained. "According to divine wisdom, most people will face heat, hunger, and thirst on the Day of Judgment during the period of accountability." "And who will enter paradise or hellfire without accountability?" Sarah interjected, recalling something she learned before. "There will be exceptions," her mother acknowledged. "Some people will enter paradise without accountability due to their exceptional piety, while others will enter hellfire without accountability because of their blatant disregard for the consequences of their actions." "So the hunger and thirst during fasting remind us of that coming day," Sarah summarized, her eyes wide with realization. "Yes, my dear," her mother confirmed. "The physical sensations you experience while fasting serve as a powerful reminder of what might await you on the Day of Judgment. It allows you to cultivate empathy and compassion for those who are less fortunate and to appreciate the blessings you have in this life." "What about breaking the fast, Mama?" Sarah asked, picturing a table laden with delicious treats. "Ah," her mother chuckled. "Overindulging in food and drink during iftar, the breaking of the fast, can hinder the remembrance of hunger and thirst on the Day of Judgment. It's important to maintain a sense of moderation and gratitude when enjoying your meal." "So, feeling genuine hunger and thirst is important for this benefit of fasting," Sarah concluded, piecing together the lesson. "Exactly, my dear," her mother agreed. "To truly benefit from this aspect of fasting, you must experience the physical sensations of hunger and thirst. It's a reminder to be mindful of your actions and cultivate empathy for others, preparing yourself for the accountability that awaits in the hereafter." Lost in thought, Sarah pondered her mother's words. Ramadan wasn't simply about control and faith, it was training for the hereafter, a way to develop compassion and appreciate Allah's gifts. Once a looming restriction, Ramadan now appeared as a month overflowing with valuable lessons and a chance to discover her true self. "Certainly," her mother elaborated, her voice laced with wisdom. "Remembering the hunger and thirst on the Day of Judgment alone is not enough to achieve the great benefit." Sarah leaned forward, eager to learn more. "What should we do after remembering that?" she inquired. "Remembering should be followed by practical application to improve personal conduct," her mother explained. "Fasting serves as a catalyst for positive change." "Like what?" Sarah pressed, her curiosity piqued. "It's a call to action," her mother continued. "Fasting compels you to abandon displeasing actions and actively pursue behaviors that are pleasing to Allah. It's a chance to reset your moral compass and focus on self-improvement." A thoughtful expression crossed Sarah's face. So, fasting has a primary purpose beyond just feeling hunger and thirst? Yes, my dear, her mother confirmed. Fasting should ultimately guide a person towards their Lord in the right way. It's a time for introspection, self-discipline, and recommitting yourself to your faith. What is the desired outcome then? Sarah pondered, grasping the bigger picture. The desired outcome, her mother explained, is a strengthened relationship between the servant and their Lord. Fasting, followed by rectifying your actions, leads to a deeper connection with Allah, built on sincerity, devotion, and a commitment to living a righteous life. A peaceful quiet settled over Sarah as a wave of warmth washed through her. Ramadan wasn't just about an empty stomach. It was a complete experience designed to remake her from the inside out. It was a gateway to becoming a better person, a necessary reflection on the afterlife, and a path to a deeper connection with Allah. The approaching holy month no longer loomed large and scary, but instead felt like a thrilling chance for growth and spiritual satisfaction. Certainly, her mother continued, her voice taking on a more serious tone. Fasting also reminds us of the hunger and thirst of the poor and the difficult conditions they face. Sarah's brow furrowed slightly. So what should a Muslim do? She asked, a hint of concern in her voice. A Muslim should avoid extravagance in food and drink during iftar, the breaking of the fast, her mother explained. This allows you to empathize with the less fortunate and appreciate the blessings you have. Is that enough, Mama? Sarah pressed, a thoughtful expression on her face. No, my dear, her mother replied gently. Fasting should lead to practical results beyond just feeling empathy. It's a call to action. What kind of action? Sarah inquired, eager to understand. Fasting should compel you to help the needy and alleviate the suffering of the destitute, her mother elaborated. Donating to charity, volunteering your time, or simply treating those less fortunate with kindness are all ways to put your faith into action. A flicker of worry crossed Sarah's face. What if the affluent neglect the needs of the poor and continue to be stingy? She asked. That's a very important question, her mother acknowledged, her gaze turning serious. If the affluent neglect the needs of the poor and remain stingy, their fasting is considered incomplete and even harmful. It increases their distance from faith, as true fasting requires compassion and action alongside self-denial. So there's a kind of fasting that produces true goodness, Sarah concluded, piecing together the lesson. Exactly, my dear, her mother beamed. Fasting that produces goodness includes reaching out to those in need, donating to the poor, treating them with kindness, and actively helping them are all ways to elevate your fasting experience and increase the reward and blessings you receive from Allah. Lost in thought, Sarah digested her mother's words. Ramadan wasn't simply about giving things up. It was a wellspring of compassion, urging her to give back and ease the burdens of those less fortunate. This holistic practice, she realized, would transform her from the inside out, shaping her into a more faithful and empathetic person. The coming holy month wasn't a chore to dread, but a chance to find purpose and make a positive difference in the world. A newfound sense of determination filled her, a yearning to embrace the transformative. Her mother, sensing Sarah's newfound determination, added another layer to the conversation. There's another point that fasting reminds us of, which is the changing and fluctuating nature of worldly life, she said gently. Intrigued, Sarah leaned forward. How does it do that, Mama? She inquired. Fasting sheds light on the fact that life is characterized by ups and downs, constant changes and impermanence, her mother explained. It's not always smooth sailing. What kind of changes are we talking about? Sarah pressed, her curiosity piqued. Throughout life, individuals experience various trials of hunger and satiety, health and illness, youth and old age, wealth and poverty, her mother elaborated. Fasting gives you a taste of these fluctuations on a microcosmic level. So the days of fasting reflect the bigger picture of life? Sarah asked, piecing together the concept. Exactly, my dear, her mother confirmed. The days of fasting mirror this reality on a smaller scale. During a single day, the fasting person goes through experiences of hunger and thirst, and then feels satiety and comfort at night. It's a cycle of change. Why is this important, Mama? Sarah pondered, a thoughtful expression settling on her face. Fasting gives the opportunity for individuals to witness these changes in their conditions within a single day, her mother explained. This experience enhances your awareness of the continuous changes that life throws your way. It teaches you resilience, acceptance, and gratitude for the good times, knowing that challenges may come and go. Lost in thought, Sarah digested her mother's words. Ramadan transformed from a simple act of self-denial into a powerful symbol of life's journey. It wasn't just about connecting with Allah, it was a training ground for facing life's inevitable ups and downs. Ramadan offered a chance to savor the good times, build resilience for challenges, and learn valuable lessons, all while deepening her connection with the divine. The upcoming holy month felt more enriching than ever, a chance for growth that extended far beyond the limitations of food and drink. Her mother, sensing Sarah's growing appreciation for Ramadan, added another significant benefit. Fasting leads to the forgiveness of previous sins if the necessary conditions are met, she explained. Sarah's eyes widened. Does that mean fasting can erase sins? She asked, a hint of hope in her voice. Yes, my dear, her mother confirmed. Fasting is considered a powerful act of worship, and according to the noble hadith, fasting is a shield from the fire. So fasting protects us from punishment in the afterlife, Sarah clarified, her voice filled with wonder. Exactly, her mother nodded. Sins bring the potential for punishment by the fire, while sincere fasting acts as a shield, preventing that punishment by offering an opportunity for forgiveness. A wave of relief washed over Sarah. Ramadan suddenly felt even more meaningful. It wasn't just about self-improvement and empathy. It was a chance for spiritual renewal and a path towards forgiveness. Then fasting has so many benefits, Mama, Sarah exclaimed, a wide smile spreading across her face. Certainly, my dear, her mother beamed. By understanding these benefits, both spiritual and practical, we can see how great and important fasting is in the lives of Muslims. It's a multifaceted practice that enriches our souls, strengthens our faith, and connects us to Allah and His boundless blessings. A peaceful quiet surrounded Sarah. Her heart overflowed with anticipation for Ramadan. It wasn't just about restrictions anymore. It was a gateway to self-discovery, kindness, forgiveness, and a stronger bond with Allah. The upcoming month ignited a newfound passion within her, a burning desire to fully embrace this holy period. Her mother, sensing Sarah's brimming excitement, added another crucial benefit with a gentle smile. Fasting helps in purifying the heart and refining the soul, she explained. Sarah's brow furrowed slightly in thought. But how can fasting achieve that, Mama? She inquired. It's quite beautiful, my dear, her mother replied. By avoiding food and drink that may contain doubts or prohibitions, you are essentially reducing the hardness of your heart and removing the darkness of your soul. It's a form of internal cleansing. Sarah's eyes widened in realization. So, fasting is considered a form of spiritual purification? She asked, piecing together the concept. Exactly, her mother confirmed. In addition, refraining from overeating and overdrinking reduces the heaviness of the stomach. This allows the soul to become more transparent and the spirit quicker to turn towards the world of light, where connection with Allah is strengthened. A sense of awe settled over Sarah. Fasting wasn't just about physical limitations, it was a way to cleanse and refine her inner self. What about the spiritual effects of fasting, Mama? She pressed, eager to learn more. Fasting enhances spiritual progress on the path of faith and certainty, her mother explained. By keeping the stomach light, you create space for spiritual nourishment. A lighter spirit becomes more receptive to wisdom and guidance from Allah. Is fasting related to wisdom? Sarah repeated, surprised by this new connection. Yes, my dear, her mother confirmed. There's a sacred hadith that says, whoever restrains his stomach and his tongue, Allah will conceal his faults and forgive his sins. This emphasizes the importance of both hunger and controlling one's speech in achieving true wisdom. Sarah contemplated this for a moment, a sense of wonder filling her. It seems that fasting has more benefits than I ever imagined, she exclaimed. Indeed, her mother agreed, her eyes twinkling. Fasting is considered a shield against the fire, not just the literal fire of the afterlife, but also the fire of desires and ingratitude. It's a way to purify your actions, elevate your thoughts, and ultimately move closer to Allah. In a moment of quiet reflection, a deep respect for Ramadan bloomed in Sarah's heart. It transcended being just a month without food and drink. It transformed into a well-rounded experience meant to purify her body, uplift her spirit, and bring her closer to God. Ramadan now resembled a holy pilgrimage, a path of self-discovery, transformation, and spiritual awakening. She eagerly awaited this journey, ready to experience the transformative power of fasting. Power of Ramadan.